Well, we're now joined by JP Kloppers, who is CEO of Brands Eye. He's a regular guest in the studio on a Friday. We've had some fascinating conversations about what social media analysis can tell us. And, of course, with the municipal elections, it's been fantastic to have this technology and this approach for analysis. So, JP, welcome again. We talked to you during the election from Cape Town, and you talked there about how your methodology, the Brands Eye methodology, gives us analysis, conclusions. Let's jump straight into the three metros that were so heavily contested and which all look as if the ANC is not going to get a 50%.
Great. Yeah, if we go straight into Nelson and Mandela Bay and actually in aggregate across all of them, I think what we saw in this election was the macro issues.
Well, there it is there. And before we get on to
so here on the graph, what we've compared is for comparing just the ANC and the DA. We've looked at what the actual results were. This is at 4 o'clock this afternoon, so they have moved a little bit since this point. What the actual results were, what the polls said it would be beforehand, and what social media said it would be.
So it's the ANC on the left. It's a bit shady there. ANC on the left, DA on the right.
Correct. And here we know in Nelson Mandela Bay that the DA came out at around 46, 47%. We had them at 39%, and we actually had them behind the ANC in Nelson Mandela Bay. So we didn't get it right there. The polls did. The polls had them at 44 and the ANC at 37. But I think what we saw in Nelson Mandela Bay, which we did see in the kind of voter behavior that came through, was if we look at the positive and negative sentiment, the reason people didn't like politicians or political parties during this election was often because of the big issues, the macro issues. It was corruption, it was the SABC, it was Zuma in the case of the ANC, and on the DA it was all around, is this a party we can trust? Is this a party that's just representing white people, and will they represent the interests of on-the-ground local black people? And so the kind of negative conversation was all about that, but that's not where the vote happened. The votes, it seemed, happened, I think that's where the no vote happened. So the ANC, I think, lost votes on those. People didn't come out because of those things, but the people who came out, what interestingly was because of the specific ward issues, not necessarily the big macro issues. So in Nelson Mandela Bay, for example, it was around job creation. That was a big thing. You actually saw that across the three metros, job creation, and the DA just effectively saying, look what we did in the Western Cape, we can do that here. And so that I think was a powerful way in which the DA kind of effectively used both their story and social media to then try and move votes across the line.
I wanted to ask, Athol Trollip is an interesting, he looks set to be the mayor, the executive mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, Port Elizabeth. Now, he speaks fluent Xhosa. His victory speech was mostly in that language.
Amazing.
So, you know, this is a sort of privileged white guy who can't speak to black people.
No, amazing,
And Danny Jordan, who is a national figure with his soccer connections and so on, which may now be pulling him down. Any commentary on personalities?
I think the kind of negative thing that came through on the ANC in PE was the misappropriation of funds. And so I think whether that's Danny Jordan or it's the association,
well, he's certainly up
he's
for
been
investigation.
Mixed up in all of it. So I think that hurt them.
Right, let's move on to Tshwane, which of course is one of the three big Gauteng, and what so areas?
Here we were kind of on the opposite end to the polls and what happened. The kind of results at the moment, as we know, it's neck and neck, and in Tshwane the ANC at the moment is slightly ahead. And so the polls had the ANC slightly ahead. We also had the ANC slightly ahead, but with a much lower vote. I think on social it looked like the influence of the EFF was going to be very strong in Tshwane, which didn't, I mean, they came out with 10%, which to start on a 6% base, that's a significant increase.
They were hoping for much more.
They were, but let's also bear in mind, to go from 6 and they're currently on 8% is what's that, the
33%,
That's a big increase in your voter base. Whereas the DA has gone from 22 to 24, 25. So,
extending your analysis of Nelson Mandela Bay, what were the issues in Tshwane?
So in Tshwane, the ANC, people came out in support of Toko Dadisa. They liked him, they punted him hard. Sorry. Yeah. they punted her hard, but that it wasn't enough. There wasn't enough behind that in terms of the other things that the ANC would do. And whereas the DA, they came out with jobs, we're going to end corruption. That was a big theme in Tshwane. Just that thing of we're going to come out, we're going to put an end to corruption. And then the Western Cape example again, and the Soli Msimanga. I've got that one right.
Yeah.
That was a big factor. So they managed to push all of those things really well.
So the Western Cape has made an impact in the Eastern Cape and in Gauteng, saying, look what they've done there.
Look what they've done. And to me, I think the fascinating thing that we're going to see after this is as each of the political parties go back and they have their AGMs later in the year, they're going to be talking about, we actually need to do a good job.
Yeah. We're going to have to stop there, JP, because we're running out of time for Johannesburg. Let's have a look at Johannesburg. And I think this is the one that the ANC least expected to get below 50%. What's it telling us there?
Correct. So here we saw the ANC ahead on social, and actually quite a lot ahead. We saw them with 7 points ahead of the DA in social media. In the polls had the ANC also ahead, but by 5 points. Nobody saw them quite as close as we've seen them in reality. That is right now neck and neck. Yeah. At the moment, we've got the DA just slightly ahead, but again, it could move very quickly. And the big thing that came through there for the ANC, Parks Tau, people loved him. He's got a good track record, but very low engagement. There were 1,400 tweets about him, and a lot of that was just media coverage. So again, I think it showed the ANC with almost a very reactive strategy, trying to kind of bring about a negative campaign rather than playing a card, a very strong card that they had.
So they had an asset they didn't use.
They didn't use it.
Musi Mayamani, much more presence on the social media?
Yeah, much more presence on social media.
I haven't been tweeting. I've been too busy worrying about the election.
Well, I think they also minimized the Helen Zille damage on Twitter, and she only came out much later in kind of talking about things. I think she, as powerful a force as she's been, she has also made some things difficult.
We'll have to look at a couple of the tweets that you have gathered together to finish off. Let's have a look there.
Okay, so here this is the lighter side. I think a hashtag which trended today was if the DA wins. If DA wins, Musi will remove his mask and shout, "This Leon Schuster," which was very humorous.
These guys are so clever with these.
Very clever.
Let's see a couple others.
But the FDA, here's the new footwear, which is going to be trending in South Africa if the DA wins, which is very funny. Yeah. This is somebody crying at the thought of every spaza shop having to stock Bovril and Marmite if the DA wins.
Yeah, are there any more? Here we are. What's that one saying?
Here was the advertisers actually jumping on the bandwagon. You see promoted tweets in Afrikaans on the hashtag if DA wins. Yeah. So advertisers very quick off the mark to kind of leverage any opportunity which they might have. Here, if the DA wins, might need to
the new soap opera,
new show on Mnet. Yes.
Let's leave those for the moment. I want to wrap up with you on your experience of the election now. Some of the stats, your social media stats, didn't really match what actually happened, but it seems to me your analysis of why people did things has been really revealing, which we didn't have that information before.
Yeah, I think I've been encouraged. While it wasn't an exact representation like we saw in the UK, where there's a far more representative population on Twitter, I think in South Africa it kind of revealed the hearts of people. And I think what we're going to see between now and 2019 is voters going on social media and holding politicians accountable, saying, you promised, now deliver. And I think that's going to be fascinating to watch, because that's going to be for the DA, for the EFF, for the ANC. All of them have to go back and say, we need to actually do a good job for people to vote us in 2019, that's the point of an election. So I think it's been a big win for social media in the 2016 local elections.
Certainly seems so. That's it for Business This Week. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thanks to JP Kloppers, the CEO of Brands Eye. End of the program. Thanks for joining us. End, as I say, of a momentous week. I think our municipal politics really will change now. We just don't know exactly how it's going to work. So have a good weekend. Watch the Lions tomorrow, and let's hope they win to really complete an exciting week. And next up on CNBC Africa is Lindsay Williams, my father, with Business FM.